Hey everybody, before we get started, there's something you should know. I'm Crescendo. I produce videos about making sketches in my sketchpad. It's called To Sketch a Predator. Nah, I'm just kidding. This is Crescendo, and I do produce videos about sketching my sketchpad, but they're called Sketch Play Show Quick. I finished a new sketchpad, and I'm here today to share it with you. Please like and subscribe if you like my work, or drop me a comment. I'd like to hear from you. I feel like this sketchpad was a real mixed bag. There's a lot of stuff in here I like, and some not so much. So, thanks for joining me over my morning coffee. Let's go over the sketchpad. First, the Ruined Queen. This was a fun one to draw. I wanted to open up this sketchpad with a scene of relaxation. It's feeling like a little bit of a mutation was in my books. Next up, I remember this. Had a coffee spill catastrophe here on the left side. Almost made me give up this piece because I was so mad that I dropped coffee all over it. Made this one just a couple of fighters in some kind of field or desert. Had a fun knife and sword battle. The Dark Tower in the background. Maybe holdover from my days reading Stephen King. This one I really enjoy. The monster in the well. This chimera-like beast at the bottom of a well, it looks like, with his lobster arm and spider feet and way too many nipples. Kind of his face with his tongue lolling out like that for some reason really reminds me of Castle Freak, that full moon classic movie, if you've never heard of it. In this piece, I'm working on dynamic angles, and when I sat down, I had this idea for someone holding a sword to your face, but you're the one looking up. And I kind of wanted to make him a visually not typically threatening person, like a kind of a foppish lord in his countryman or estate, to give him a sort of indifferent aggression that seemed interesting to me on the day. There's something funny about violence when someone's not quite so attached to it. It makes it maybe a little bit more scary. My man, Joe Higashi. And as a kid, I got into the Fatal Fury and King of Fighters games, and I remember Joe Higashi was one of my favorites. Really fun fighter to play with. After playing extensively with Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui, I moved on to Joe Higashi, maybe on the strength of being a Muay Thai fighter. My love of Sagat from Street Fighter 2 carried over to Joe, even though they have very, very different personalities and fairly different movesets. There's always something fun about a guy who can uppercut a tornado into existence. I think I mentioned in my Sketch Play Shown Quick video captions that I had heard Van Halen's Hot for Teacher recently, and for some reason that was stuck in my head when I sat down to draw this piece. But as I was drawing, she looks less and less like a teacher and maybe more like a student. So maybe the viewer is now the teacher, the student is hot for, but I thought it was kind of fun to give her math symbols for her eyes, a division symbol here and a multiplication symbol in the other eye. My cat has something to say too. My cat likes this one, I guess. In this piece, I wanted to try something new. I always like patterns, but I'm not the best at drawing patterns. I don't have a lot of patience for them. Maybe that's why all these sketches are limited to 30 minutes or less. So when I'm making paintings or drawings, I generally have to do mini sessions, going back and forth. So when I'm making large scale drawings or longer form drawings or paintings, I always have to do short bursts. I do that Pomodoro style, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. It gives me a flexible way of drawing and painting. The face, when I look at it, kind of reminds me of Tim Vigil, the comic book artist who drew Faust and I think Grips. She has that face like the punks in there. his comics always have. And plus I gave her the Devil Lock. If there are any Misfits fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. Next up, I was thinking a lot about those old 60s comic books and cartoons at this time, especially Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest was one of my favorite cartoons growing up, definitely way before my time. But something about the boyhood adventure, kind of globe traveling, 007 light adventures of Johnny Quest really captured my imagination, going from the skies to the seas. And this is a much older character than Johnny Quest, of course, but she's found herself in the mysterious depths of the sea with a sea dragon popping out of a coral reef to attack her. Maybe that's one thing I love about Johnny Quest, is that sense of mystery, where in the world now we've kind of explored most things in the land and sea. It's attractive to think of a time when you thought there could be sea dragons in the water. The world seems bigger when there's mysteries there. When there's no mysteries, everything tends to get a little bit boring. My Johnny Quest interest did not end there. They continued to this one, where this young black Johnny Quest is running away after swiping an Ankh back to that adventure that I was talking about before, where the world seems big and you could be susceptible to a mummy's curse somewhere in the world if you stole the wrong golden object. Moving on to this Mad Max inspired, maybe, Bandita of the high desert, somewhere in space. Like I said in my sketchplay video, it's nice to come up with stories for characters as I'm drawing them. Maybe informs how I draw them or the haircuts I give them. And she is definitely geared for desert combat. Here comes my cat again. She's definitely geared up for desert combat. I gave her light clothes and just the bare minimum of coverage to keep her going. Gave her two very quick weapons so she's not carrying around heavy armaments in the desert sun. On to the Beast Rider. I really wanted to draw somebody perched on top of something, and maybe while I sat down and started drawing, I thought it'd be nice to have her perched on top of a beast that's dashing into battle. So I gave her a whip and a wild face and Evil Lyn meets Horizon Zero Dawn style headdress here. And she dashes off to battle. Speed lines a speeding. One thing I'm always talking about is music. When I'm drawing, I always have music playing. When I'm walking, I always have headphones in. Music kind of fuels a lot of things I do. I cannot play music, but I very much appreciate it. And that appreciation probably came out in these sketches.
What is a man?
A man is someone who likes to draw Lady Draculas. Or maybe she's a succubus. I don't really know. She's drinking from a goblet. You can imagine it's blood or wine. Either one is in there. I think there's something about intricate clothes that makes people more attractive. The more intricate the clothes are, or the thought process behind the clothes, the more interesting someone is to look at. So I want to maybe blend together some Victorian / medieval / fetish wear in her outfit, kind of tie her all together. Sometimes, always monsters. I mentioned in my sketch play video that when I was a kid, I used to get this magazine in the mail, or maybe I just bought it. I can't remember. But it used to have advertisements for the H.P. Lovecraft Call of Cthulhu tabletop game. And the advertisement had these, what I remember to be super slick, really detailed drawings of the monsters from the Cthulhu mythos. And they've always stuck with me in my head, or at least my memory of them has stuck with me in my head. So those memories are coming to life in this drawing. kind of slug monster with mouth in his chest, ringed by gelatinous teeth. Is going on here, some kind of flying tumor-like monster full of tentacles over here. A gigantic beast similar to those that you see in the fog going on here with way too many eyes. I drink my coffee because my throat is getting sore. And a good old disembodied head with worms crawling out of his eyes. A beautiful scene. Many faces. I love drawing faces. Maybe that's why when I paint, I draw portraits most of the time, because I find faces insanely mysterious. Some people say people wear their heart on their sleeves, or the eyes is the window to the soul, but I have a hard time feeling that that's true. Faces are so mysterious and inscrutable to me that I can never tell what's going on behind them. You know, there's the obvious expressions, but you never know what people are thinking behind those expressions. That's why sometimes I gotta wear a mask to cover my thoughts. I just finished reading Valis again last week. That's a book I read either in high school or junior college, and I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember if I really understood it or not. I think I kind of blew through it for the assignment and took little scraps of what I could here and there. And what was there, I enjoyed. I always enjoyed Philip K. Dick's dystopian sci-fi as it was portrayed in films. I think Valis was the first Philip K. Dick book that I read. And now coming back to it, I really enjoyed it. The kind of techno-psychopathy, the cyber paranoia inherent in his stories and in Valis especially. His descriptions of the future are very prescient because they can be so analogous to technology we see now. There's that phrase which is even mentioned in the book, technology, if it becomes so advanced, is indistinguishable from magic. So the kind of future of AI paranoia, of the limits of what we can do with technology today, resonates with what Philip K. Dick was talking about then. It's a trilogy, actually, so I'm planning to move on to the next book next week. It is clobbering time. I started drawing this lady first, and for some reason she really looked to me like Sue Storm, so that's who she became. If I was going to draw Sue Storm, of course Ben Grimm came in later. Ben Grimm, he doesn't get a lot of love. I feel like in the Marvel universe, people, producers, movie producers, cartoon creators think of him as like discount Hulk, so he just doesn't get as much screen time as the Hulk does. The Hulk is a much more charismatic figure, maybe. I was never a huge fan of the Fantastic Four in general. Only really loving Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe since the Fantastic Four gave rise to Doom. I can only give him praise for that. Also, I do like Ben Grimm's gruff face and bulging eyes here. He's really looking mad. And I think inspired by the techno paranoia of Valis and world events just getting way too crazy, I'm thinking a lot about this book that I read back in the day by Jim Mars called Rise of the Fourth Reich. It is an alternate history conspiracy book which asserts that the National Socialists never lost the war, or they did lose the war. They lost the Battle of World War II, but spread their ideology out into the world, making the entire planet now the Fourth Reich. Some of the book is a little bit beyond the pale for me, gotta be honest, but most of the facts that he talks about are well documented. You can look up the newspaper articles and read them. The thing that is his ways of reading history are novel and interesting, but he does weave a tale where after World War II, propagators of the ideology of the Nazi Party are do kind of disseminate around the world, moving to Brazil, moving to America, and helping to create our own space program and parts of pop-up terror cells around the world, fighting communists. But this image is inspired by that. A lot of new fascist ideals we're moving into these days, so watch out. In the end, and to finish this, and to close this book out, some might call him a dictator, Dr. Doom, one of, if not my favorite character in the Marvel Universe. I always love Dr. Doom. There's something about him that really attracts me. Maybe it's the mask, maybe it's the armor to fend off a cruel world. I think that was a good thing about old Marvel villains, is they were complex and conflicted a little bit. Like you think about Thanos, not his current Marvel movie iteration, but his comic book origin, where like I think there's a much more complex character than the one they portrayed on screen, who I felt was just a pretty rank anti-hero. I'm getting way off topic here. Dr. Doom, interesting character, also inspired one of, if not my favorite, hip-hop artists, MF Doom, Metal Fingers Doom, rest in power. Doom, yeah, a great look, fantastic powers, and I really enjoy this depiction of Doom that I have in my sketch pad here. With this stride, he's showing the determination that I always think of in Victor Von Doom. Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me on my morning coffee review of my sketches this time. I hope you found this to be the cleanest, best pleasure. Please give me a like if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Leave me a comment if you have something to say about my work, whether good or bad. I like to hear people's feedback. And I guess I'll catch you guys on the next one.